You're listening to the number one podcast for oil and gas professionals. What's up? Michael Fry. I'm here with Dallas Bozeman.
Hey, what's happening?
How's it going, D?
Going good.
And we are here with a special guest, Mr. Matt Furman of Core Group Resources. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
No, it's good to have you back. It's been It's been a long time
Couple months, at least 7 months. Maybe.
Yeah. You know, one of the big things we've been talking about here is, you know, you see all over LinkedIn and Facebook talking about fraudulent employment offers, and it's kind of becoming an epidemic at this point. I mean, these scams, and just, we all know about the story with, you know, the call I got with my daughter and people trying to take advantage of people, and especially in a time of need. And one of the things that Dallas and I were talking to Matt about is coming on board to really discuss this topic. And because, you know, the core groups out there trying to help people each and every day. And I think one of the things that you battle is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is this view now that recruiters are evil people. And unfortunately, I think it's one of these things to where until you break the stigma, and right now it's correct me if I'm wrong, right now it's tough because every time you turn around on LinkedIn, it's this scam and that scam. And one of the things that we want to do with this podcast and this Facebook Live is really to try to expose it. Matt can talk about some of the things that they see in the industry, things that they look for at the core group when it comes to actually recruiting people, and how do you detect a scam offer versus, you know, a real offer? Because unfortunately, it's people that we know that are getting taken advantage of. It's not complete strangers who are desperate. It's people who we talk to each and every day who you turn around and find out that they've been caught by, you know, some scam that's out there. So we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. To go on the discussion on recruitment being viewed poorly, I think in the information age now, where everything or a lot of information is accessible online, taking what you get at face value in your email or through Facebook or whatever social media platform, it really can't be done anymore, because a lot of these groups are getting really organized on how to mask existing companies. And what I mean by mask is there'll be companies that exist out there, oil and gas companies, Chevron, Insco, you name it. And companies will come up and actually create exact profile websites that look just like the company they're recruiting for, except the URL's off by, you know, it could be, you know, chevronl.com, or it could be seadrilly.com. They'll slightly change the URL, and what that does is they'll mask and create the profile and the company just like the same company. They'll have a careers page and everything, job opportunities, and then these sickos go even further and will put a phone number for them to call on. Right? They'll call, and then a person will pick up the phone. And a person will pick up the phone and saying they're from that company. It sounds official the whole way through. They'll ask for your paperwork, all your personal information, your social security number, your everything, your entire life they'll ask for. And then they'll have you try to pay for a visa or pay for some sort of travel up front. And they'll be there answering the phone the whole way, and nothing will be happening. And you think you've paid for your own travel, you think you bought your own visa, and guess what?
They pocketed the money.
They pocketed the money and they just disappear. And they get away with it once. They're like, oh, that was easy. Guess what? They do it again. And these guys, they're targeting depressed markets, or markets that have gone through contraction, so they know there's a greater candidate population need who is in need of work. And so they're going out and they're doing this. And they're doing it over and over and over again, and it's happening all the time. And so something has to be said on a mass scale to get this to stop. And the pattern, it's not just onesie twosies. This is happening worldwide, mass scale right now.
Yeah, I mean, I see it a lot where it's in not picking on certain companies, but it is what it is. I mean, if you're on LinkedIn, you see it. It starts off with hey, we're seeing offers from Maersk Drilling, and then Maersk HR will come out and say, hey, look, there's a scam going on. It's not us. And then it's a Seadrill, as you mentioned, and then Seadrill's got to come out and go, it's not us. And I think the challenge is you have to do your homework. I mean, we were visiting a couple Fridays ago where one of your staff were saying people were showing up for interviews like, hey, I'm here to see Dallas. And they're like, for what? And it's like, well, I have a job interview at 1:00. No, you don't. It's like, how do we, what can people do to try to, sniff this out and get to find out if there really are true job offers? Cause you're kind of telling us offline that even some of the reputable sites that you would go to now are getting taken advantage of as well.
So the best option is once you get emails from whoever it is, you should Google that individual's name, find out everything about that individual who's on the email. The URL itself, if you just Google the name of the company and you go into Google or any other search engine and just compare the URL, the website address to the one that's coming from you, you can do full scan. So if they don't have any information on their employment or any LinkedIn profile or anything online about them individually, I'm already getting skeptical. And then if you go for a URL match, website address match, and I'm getting even more skeptical. And if they're answering the phone, you can ask simple questions like, "What's your stock ticker on the New York Stock Exchange?" Right? You ask simple, basic questions that someone behind the phone should know. If they don't know, then still I would just go about any employment offer like one step at a time and be skeptical. Now, I don't want that to get in the way of actual employment offers, right? Because if you suddenly everyone's offering you employment and you're all skeptical, are you real? I don't want to cast a fear net over the entire industry. But it's just doing homework at the gate. Does their profile exist on LinkedIn? Does the URL match the website? And most, I would say all companies, they can't, most of all companies will never ask you to pay anything upfront for employment. Like, hey, cut me $700 here. Or we need to pay for this here. As soon as they start to ask you for money and you haven't been on an interview, you haven't been seen face to face, like run for the hills. No cash should come out of your wallet to get a job inside of a company that's Fortune 100, Fortune 500, or on the New York Stock Exchange. It should not happen. The moment they go to ask for cash, that's a wall that I would throw up in my mind.
So are they asking for card numbers? Or are they asking for transactions like Western Union being sent to a location? How are they trying to acquire the funds?
Usually it's all credit card by the phone. So they'll say, hey, just give us your credit card number. We'll run this real quick. And they'll take you through a few layers. This isn't at the gate. Here's your offer letter. Where's your credit card? This is, hey, we need to run your background check. This is after they've taken all your personal information.
Yeah, so they're already in the prep work for.
They take you down 3 or 4 layers of psychology, getting you real warm and happy, and then they strike at that point. So that's where these guys are real sickos.
And it's funny too, because it's not funny at all. It's like you said, sick, but I get the same thing from being a president and CEO, and you might as well. People that'll come to me on LinkedIn and say, hey, we have this great opportunity. Contact my friend at hotmail.com. And it's like, hold on a second. You're with company X trying to offer me to help support your company, and you're giving me Gmail, Hotmail. It's like, where's your corporate email at? As soon as I see those come through and it doesn't have the company that you're representing, it's an immediate, I don't even respond to it now. It's just an immediate delete, because it's like, come on, man, seriously, but like you said, in a down market. And as we said, I had that call that day with my daughter, and timing and emotion and everything is part of it. I mean, hell, Dallas was sitting right here with one of our other coworkers and watched it go down. I mean, for someone who's pretty calm, cool, and collected, I was a basket case that day. And so when you get into the emotional side of it, I see where these people can take advantage of individuals who are out there desperate to get a job and get back in the industry.
Yeah, and that's why I think these scam artists have gone from Gmail and the Yahoos and all the general addresses to actually creating URLs online that mask the company. So that's the trap that's people are starting to fall into, and so we have to target that issue right now, which is, if the URL doesn't match a Google-based URL or existing company page, run for the hills and be skeptical at the gate.
And once your personal information's out there, man, I can only imagine that, one, you're not going to be able to recover it, but there's nothing to stop them from selling it to another organization or to, dump it into another program where it just keeps being recycled. So now Social Security numbers, date of birth, all those things are out there.
Yeah, so identity theft is another issue on this. It's not just cash at the gate; it's actual taking of your identity as well. So And they're using this portal, this employment portal of need, where people are in need, to do that. And so I think the more the world knows about this tactic, the better, because it'll stop. It's anytime someone offers you employment, if you've never met them face to face, or even if you've done Skype interviews with them, right? And they say, but really it's face to face, or fly me to an interview. Or I'll drive to you. Where are you? Let me put your eye, before I send any like detailed data across.
That's right.
You need to do some real homework on who these people are, where they're coming from, are they legit or not. Call the main line to see if they're there. The receptionist at the main line will say, oh yeah, they're in our database, and they'll look them up to make sure they're actually physically in the office building, or like the real main number. And you'll know, like, hey, call the main line. Hey, is Susan there, or is John there in HR, right? And they'll say yes. They say yes, but the person exists. You don't have to travel to John through the phone to know if he exists. The gatekeeper will tell you.
And I think it's important too. I mean, if you mentioned about the different stages, but if you're getting pushed to, hey, just, let's fill out this application. I mean, you're not buying a house, you're not buying a car, and it's like, hey, well, let's just get your application, run your credit check, and do this other stuff. And it's like, hey, look, you don't even know if I'm physically fit. I could have, half a leg and no arm, and you're like, yeah, let's go. I need your money. I need this. And so I think it's good that you mentioned those things, because it's too easy. I saw a thing online, and especially now that cybersecurity is a big thing, with all the malware and everything that's going on. I want to say, I think it was Bank of America. It was either Bank of America or PayPal, or one of the banks. They were making the site look identical to it. And it looked identical. Even when you went to log in, the login page looked like what you would use for your own bank. And then once it got you in is when it was just basically, it took your information, or took your password and your login, and it was like, all right, cool, you're done. And then they had your banking information, because they would just come back in on the back end, log right back in with what you basically threw out there as your login and password, and then they had it. And it was coming through a link via your email. So when you clicked on it, again, it looked like, say, Bank of America, but it was Bank of America, maybe Bank of - America, Bank of _ America. And you're not thinking about it, because the email looks like an email you would get from your bank.
Right.
Matt, have you seen any collaboration between these scamming organizations, these fraudulent employments? Have they fed each other names and data? Have they collaborated on anything, tried to bounce any ideas off of each other?
I don't know, like, country of origin on where this is coming from. Everyone I've talked to says everyone speaks clear English. They sound like they're from country of origin where they're from. As far as passing data, I don't know. I see the cases pop up where we're talking to hundreds of people a week at our firm. And in that, we'll get one-offs, like a couple a month, like, oh man, I fell into this trap, don't fall into this trap. And the initial gut reaction to someone who falls into this trap is embarrassment. And so they retract and they don't tell anyone. Right?
That's right.
They're like, oh man, I fell for this. That won't happen again. So their pride won't let the word get out, because they kind of, they feel taken from, and they hope nothing bad happens to that information. Right. And they try to shut their credit card off before they go on a spending spree. But, that's why we're having this today. And we've seen like little bits and pieces pop up, but I know if we're seeing the tip of the iceberg right now, right? That means it's happening on mass scale. There's somewhere in the world right now where people sitting behind a desk calling hundreds of people, offering them employments in suppressed industries, right? In this same tactic, and they're making a killing right now because it's happening on a large scale.
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing this podcast, because I want this to stop. This has to stop. This needs to go to like the highest level now, because there's the more the world knows about what's happening, the lesser chance and market share they're going to have to take in that space. They're going to have to reinvent themselves.
And that's what I think happened with, you mentioned about people being embarrassed. I mean, as soon as I kind of regrouped briefly, I was like, F this, I'm putting this out to the masses. And so I did my Facebook Live, and I was just like, here's my situation. Here's what they said. Here's what they did. And then the outpouring from people who were like, that happened to me. I actually recorded it. And like you said, I mean, I didn't pay any money, and I wasn't going to, but it was like, they were looking for $5,000 for me. I mean, that's a salary for some people in some countries for more than just a month. And all it takes is one, and that one feeds the next one. And if they get a handful of them over all the calls they're making 6 figures, 7 figures. I mean, now you're really starting to ramp it up, especially in an industry where people are desperate, because it would be like, hey, I want to put you in our pool. Even just to put you in our pool, we want you to pay a little bit of money. And so people could be like, well, I'll take the chance of it. Maybe it isn't real, but it's only $250 or it's $500 or it's whatever. And it takes a good salesman to go, but we'll look out for you. Part of this fee is us providing a service to you. Come find out that's really not a service that's actually provided, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So with the looking at the market now, you're right. We are still kind of in a suppressed market, but coming across your desk, what jobs do you see, one, coming available, but what's being targeted? Where are people going? What are they looking for?
So we've come off the bottom. True bottom of the market was last July, August. We all felt it. January this year, there's tons of optimism, and then what we're seeing kind of a bounce along the bottom. We're seeing some projects being won. We're seeing longer term contracts are being locked in. A lot of companies are locking in really long term contracts, so people are being able to see a little bit further. But a lot of your major companies are still only spending quarter to quarter. So we're out of kind of last year, mid-year, everyone was month-to-month view, like they couldn't see farther than a month. And now views stretched out to about a quarter, right? So everyone's starting to see a little bit quarter. I think you're going to see, as far as jobs that are coming up, and we're seeing, marine engineering, maintenance roles, those are all still pretty hot. We've got a number of sales jobs. Cool thing about the sales jobs, and when we see a big boost in sales, that's a front-end lead indicator of the job market because companies are prepping to lead generate for themselves. So we see a lot of sales roles coming across the desk. And then we see really highly strategic level positions like engaged or executive retained searches where companies are looking to pivot into new markets. So they're looking to go into new markets and open up new opportunities for their groups. So we're seeing those pivots happen right now as well. So all in all, it's looking a lot better. It's still bouncing along the bottom, right? But we're seeing opportunity growth. I think you'll see a big spike at the end of this year, kind of right around Q1 of this year or Q1 of 2018. And then you're going to see it really start to ramp. January this year till now has been much better than last year. But you're going to see come January 2018, everything's going to be off to the races. That's why I'm telling companies, like, you need to lock in the right talent now, because come January, it's just going to be a free for all for people.
It's going to be like it was years ago trying to man the ships. I mean, it's going to be here, we're ready to go. And the ones who are prepped and ready will have that first run of talent. And then everybody after that will just be scrambling. You're going to have that buying frenzy start happening again.
Yeah, you have to have the infrastructure in place to seize those opportunities.
Yeah.
With the companies that are looking right now, is it mostly 1099 contracts kind of as a safety net, or are they offering more W-2 employment opportunities?
We're still seeing a lot of pocket contracting right now. 1099 or W-2. It's companies are right now using whatever resource they have to capture the contracting side. I'm seeing more direct hire though. Honestly, I'm seeing a lot of direct hire happening, which is a really good sign. Which companies are looking for strategic hires to set in place for the resurgence. So it's a really good sign across the board for what we're seeing is the direct hire market uptick right now. Contracting it's still spot market wherever they may need.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't see a big boost trend there, but
it's more of a gap filler.
It's a gap filler, but we're seeing strategic direct hires happening across the industry.
And that's something that me and Mike have talked about a lot. Even up to a year ago when we were talking about whenever this does come back, was what do companies need to do to be prepared? We said you've got to get your leadership roles in place ahead of time. You have to have the right people in strategic positions that can run this thing, because as guys come back to work, some guys are going to would have kept the ability, been retained, stayed in the industry, still knowledgeable. Some guys are going to be coming back in with a lull. They're going to have a year, 18 months without, that specific work. So if you don't have the right leadership teams in place to really drive those initiatives and get those guys trained up and focused, then you're going to have a big turnover that's going to be really hard to bounce back from, and you're going to eat some serious downtime.
Oh yeah, you're going to have that. It's like the hurricane coming in the Gulf, and you're sitting there and you see it coming and you're like, oh, I'll get my rations and stuff later. I'll wait till I really know it's coming. And then you get something massive that's getting ready to hit the beach and everybody else has already cleared out the stores. And you're like, if I would have just took action back then, what's coming. you're putting tenders out there and the discussions, and it's like, look, even just one drill ship, you're talking 200 people and some 200 plus in some areas. It doesn't take very much activity to really drown a market out or take a company and suck them down really fast, especially when major organizations were stacking rigs and cutting crews. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to put you on a retainer. It was, thank you very much, we're going to let you go.
Yeah. So the reason we like to do business, and running the same circles with people like Core Group Resources and what you guys provide is because we're all about giving back to the industry and keeping guys informed and being sure that we're giving back to the people who have given so much to us. And that's why, we like Matt, we like Core Group, we like what they do, because we constantly see you guys giving and giving and giving and taking care of people, kind of almost in a family style atmosphere. So what is it, kind of what's the mission statement? What is Core Group all about that sets them apart from the rest of the industry?
I think you said it right. It's family. We treat everyone that comes across our desk as family, and in the abyss of job seeking or life transition, right? You have people who lose a job one day and then you get redirected, and an entire family's involved, and the psychology that goes with that. We're there to coach through that process, help equip them strategically on their next move, and then help companies find really good people. We truly run it as a family. It's like our mission is family. Everyone's clicking online right now into the abyss with no feedback or human intelligence. But, not in 1,000 years are they going to be able to build an algorithm that's going to replace a human to answer that phone call and to be there for them, right? To kind of coach them through that psychology. And so we want to, our goal is to get out to everyone with the market. Putting as many people in the market as it has done in the last few years, we've done our best to get out to everyone. But we've still, our main goal is to really touch everybody. But our true belief and mission is to help people find their head-heart alignment in what they do professionally, get them into jobs in which they are going not just to get a job, but actually culture change and environment inside that company. If you culture match a person to the right company culture, it is unbelievable what happens. We can literally reshape an entire company overnight. But it's that culture matching piece is what we specialize in. I think that sets us apart. Culture right now is key, because we are in a automation environment, a high volume environment where people can do more with less. And so culture matching has really become a true element of what we do and focus on.
Yeah, maybe that personal aspect, maybe that's the key to kind of avoiding a lot of these scams, is stop the clicking and the automated job applications and stuff and pick up the phone. Talk to somebody, call them directly.
Yeah, build a relationship, get to know them. You'll know someone's heart if they're a true scumbag trying to scam you. If you spend 5 minutes on the phone with them, you'll know. But if you spend 2 minutes on the phone with them off of a automated email scan, who are these people? What information are you sending?
And I think it's tough too. We're not a recruitment agency or an employment agency, but it's, our networks are small enough that it's like, all it takes is for you to reach out to somebody else. I see guys are like, oh, I've submitted 1,000 CVs, and you're like, okay, well, probably not 1,000, but it might seem like a lot. But when I get a CV that comes across our email, the first thing I do is I fire it out to the team. Does anybody know this person? Yes. Hey, he's a great hand. Or yes, it's this. Same thing can work the other way. Hey, I see Seadrill has a job offer. Is this something that's, reach out to the people that at these organizations and have them help you find out what's going on, because it is the fit. It's the same thing here with us. I think that's one of the things many reasons why we like Matt and the team, is because there's a lot of synergies between the two. Is we talk about all the time the Deepwater Subsea family, and it's like, it's not, as much as it is a place of employment, it's much deeper than that. I'm be the first one to say it. There's tears that are shed, and there's days that it's like, hey, look, I need to take care of my family. And I know in a lot of other organizations, it would be work is first. Here, family is first. Mm-hmm. Work is important, but making sure that your family's taken care of is much more important. Right. And I think that's something that too many corporations look at the number. Here's your employee number. Well, there's a sign,
Mm-hmm.
What was that old, I forget who he was. He's one of those the country comedians. Like, here's your sign. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Jeff
of
Foxworthy.
yeah, but it's like, it's what it is. What's your employee number? Like when you're calling up and the first thing they say is, what's your employee number? Okay, I'm really not that person. I'm not that valued employee versus I remember when I started with R&B Falcon, you could call up and you would talk to one person and that one person knew who you were. And because that's the way she was like the mother of the organization,
Right.
So
There's something to be said for relational business, period. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what the mission should be. It should be about quality relationships, personal interactions, and doing what's best for people. Let's get the bottom line out of the way.
that's right.
Stop focus on, the dollars and start focusing on the hearts.
So when it comes to the core group, if people want to find out like what opportunities you guys are looking to fill, where would they go find that at?
Really, the best thing to do is call us.
Okay. There's an example of the difference with Matt.
That's
Like,
right.
don't go to our website. We just talked about fraud. Call me and we'll help you.
Yeah. So call us and say, hey, what's going on? What do you guys have? If you don't get us, and you're going to get someone at the main line. The way our phone system works is designed that someone's going to pick up if you call the main line. If you call us and just want to know we post, I would say 75% of our jobs. The other 25% are always lagging behind getting on the board, or we've got other things going on. So just kind of a market probe. What we like to do then is once we kind of get to know you, we'll take a look
See
out
where the
there,
fit is,
right?
yeah.
We'll see where the fit is. But really call us and then, just keep an eye on us. Cause we're out ahead of the market. We're kicking doors in. We're doing our best job to get underneath opportunities as they expand. Cause what happens in a downturn, the market's like, oh, it goes, woe is me, right? Woe is me. And then everyone stops looking, right? And that's the worst thing we can do, because at the moment you stop, the moment you're like, oh, I guess I'm going to head down this path,
That's
right?
right.
That's when the door opens. It happens almost everywhere in life, right? Where you're like, I guess I'm just going to, walk out of the room. As soon as you walk out, the opportunity walks in. You're not there.
That's right.
Right. So we try to prevent that and getting out ahead of the opportunities underneath projects. And when those labor bands expand through the projects and through funding, we're there to catch it, open up the opportunities through our company, and then move people through.
That was what I thought was great when we met with your team last week and we all sat around and we talked is, one of the guys made the remark, he's like, I make it a point to answer every phone call and reply to every email. Like I don't go to bed until that's done every night. I'm like, that's the personal touch. Like
That's right.
that's it. That's
Yeah.
taking care of people.
Yeah, we do our best to get out to everyone. The best way you can help yourself is pick up the phone and call. If it's not us, whatever opportunity you see out there, right? The art of the phone is being lost through social
I was
media.
just going to say the same thing. It's like,
It's just click send and look.
Yeah.
It's like, well, there's so much inspiration that happens in the ears and heads of people once you get into their phone. Right? I'll be on the phone with people and they're like, oh, what do you have? And I'm sitting there talking to them and I'll get to know them a little bit longer. And all of a sudden something sparks, right? There's no software that can do that. You're like, I just talked to a guy 6 months ago who's looking for
Yep.
this engineer type who's wants to hit this industry vertical. Let me make a quick phone call. Boom. Phone call's made. Guess what? Interview set. Guess what? Opportunity for him.
and a lot of times people box themselves in where, like you said, you might have a skill set that you're looking for and it might not, you have to have kind of the portion of it. But like you said, maybe it's a maintenance supervisor. Maybe it's something else and you were a maintenance mechanic, but you were a supervisor. It's like, oh, I didn't think about going into the marine industry. I thought I had to stay in oil and gas. And it's like, there's this crossing that can take place. So it's very easy for people to go, for us, it's like, I am a subsea person in oil and gas. Yeah, but you have a lot of other qualities when it comes to hydraulics and
That's right, yeah.
electrical and ET and fiber optics. And it's like there are other opportunities. It might just not have the same name that you're used to being called.
Right. And that's it. It's taking a look at industry verticals that need you and need your core elements and what you do. If you're good at hydraulics, your search shouldn't be subsea engineer. It should be hydraulics, right? It should be who's looking for a hydraulics
That's right.
specialist, period, on a base. And then start your search there, and that'll expose the verticals. If you're focused on just title, you're going to get in a particular vertical that you're comfortable with. You should be focused on base skill sets on your job search.
I mean, when I went to the Navy, there weren't too many people looking for a torpedo man. It was like,
There wasn't a lot of people
What do you do? I
looking for
work
bomb
with,
techs
yeah, I
either.
work with torpedoes and cruise missiles, but I also specialize in weapons delivery systems. But it's like, oh, what weapons delivery systems? Well, yeah, hydraulics and pneumatics, and oh, well, we have the subsea
Yeah,
field.
there you go.
Yeah, but torpedoes and cruise missiles, no one wants that stuff, you know?
Matt, in your opinion, do you feel like employers are going to be more interested in a guy who went outside the market, diversified, found something that fit and supported his family through that, or someone who sat back, weathered the storm, and then is just trying to dive back in?
If you're sitting on the couch waiting for your 150K job, right? And you haven't done anything in 18 months, that starts to look a lot worse. I mean, if you give it 6 months, a year, but if you're not doing anything or engaging in anything and keeping your mind active, what employers look at is, what have you been doing? What have you been doing to stay fresh? I mean, if you've been sitting on your couch watching Netflix for 18 months, what does that do to the mind? Are you going to have the edge it takes to come back in and start executing work? So you're going to want to see something, did you Uber drive? Great. Did you pick up lawn work? Fine.
Did you take any courses? Did you
coursework? Did you expand education? It's just keep your mind sharp. When you see the lag, if it really gets over 2 years, we start to get worried on motivation and mental sharpness.
Good. Well, no, we appreciate it. I mean, it's always, we talked about the other day, I think it's important, like Matt had said and Dallas had kind of reiterated, if you're seeing these opportunities and it's like, man, this sounds too good to be true, or man, they're moving awfully fast, I'm not going to hire somebody without seeing them or without going through a physical, and I sure as hell ain't going to ask them to pay money to apply. And you kind of brought it up. I mean, I think it's important to really do your homework. It's kind of like, hell, the internet, the way it is today, you can find out more about individuals and companies in minutes than you could ever before. And I think it's just that if I punch in, Diamond Offshore Drilling, I know I get their Doty, email or their Doty website. But if I'm getting different websites and it's like, and I click on it and it's not what I'm used to getting, or even if it looks something's wrong, like you said, there are things out there that you just have to do your homework and making that telephone call. I mean, I couldn't reiterate that enough. It drives me crazy. It'd be like me sitting here and don't get me wrong, there's times I'll tap on the wall because it's, they'll have their headphones on or, but the majority of the time it's get up, walk over there and say, hey, do you got a second? I've been at places where there's a text message that gets sent and the person's 20 feet away or 3 cubes down the hallway. And it's like, Jesus, just get up and walk down the hallway or make a phone call. It is truly missed these days with the ease of the text message and everything else.
Yeah, it's just pick up the phone, make the contact, warm someone up to who you are, and get their mind working for you. I mean, the best thing you can do is get in someone's ear and have their mind thinking on your behalf. There's no algorithm, there's no keyword that's going to do that. It's a phone call and a relational connection and getting their mind to work on who you are.
I mean, heck, Dallas, we have people that call us sometimes weekly, sometimes almost daily, but I tell people, hey, look, I don't mind you calling. Just be respectful of the fact that, things come up periodically, but if you're calling every day, it's going to get a little old. If you're calling every week, every 2 weeks, I mean, I'm going to tell you, hey, look, I don't mind you calling. Just,
give it some time.
Yeah. Just, it's okay to poke every once in a while. I'll be like, hey, how's it going? Hey, it's great. How is it going with you? Oh, it's good. Anything new? No, sorry. Versus the guy that just fires that email all the time and you just come gray noise in the background. So I think it's important having that.
Yeah, the frequency is important. Job seeking is like dating, right? It is. Your frequency can turn people off if it's too much, right? You do not want to come across desperate. If you come across desperate, it really pushes people away. So you really want to keep your check-ins at max a weekly, maybe every other week, right? Just to touch base. Maybe it's a email 1 week and a phone call the next.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Soft
smothering them.
Right. Soft touching just to essentially keep prompting their mind as to who you are. I'm in the queue, and then we'll reach out to you when something does open.
Yeah, because you never know when that job's going to slide across, the desk, and someone's going to go, I remember that guy.
That's right. It's that day that I came across and you happen to call that afternoon. It's like, oh, damn, I just happen to have a perfect job for you.
Yep, exactly.
Well, cool. Well, we appreciate it as always. Again, As you heard Matt say, so I'll throw this out to you. What number would you like people to contact you at who are looking for jobs?
281-347-4700.
There you go. And Dallas, as always, we appreciate it. Matt, thanks for coming on over and being a part of this. I know it's different, and I think it's important for organizations like, Core Group and Deepwater Subsea to really put it out there and to be that face, as we've talked about many times, because there's a lot of people who will hide behind a website, and then there's others who are willing to engage the industry and get out there. And I think that's what makes us different. So till the next time, we appreciate it, and be safe. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks.